Level 1, Item Summoning. Item summoning is one of the smartest and cleanest uses of sealing jutsu in the ninja world. It takes one of the biggest limits in battle, how much gear you can carry, and flips it into a massive advantage. Basically, it uses fūinjutsu, or sealing techniques, to store all kinds of weapons inside things like paper scrolls, cloth bands, or even tattoos. You can summon them instantly. In the middle of a fight, a single hand sign can drop a full armory that would normally take a whole supply team to carry. Think about Tenten during her fight with Temari in the Chūnin Exams. What made her fight impressive was the amount of weapons she threw. Yeah, it was a literal storm of steel. She was trying to control the battlefield through overlapping attacks that cornered her opponent bit by bit. Then you've got Sasuke. Thanks to his wrist-mounted seals, he can summon and launch weapons so fast, it looks like they're appearing out of thin air. The effect on enemies is wild. Imagine fighting someone who can pull infinite weapons out of nowhere. But here's what really makes this technique genius. Your opponent has no idea what you've got stored. They can't see your inventory. They don't know if you're about to summon a normal kunai, an explosive tag, a chakra-draining tool, or even a medkit. This unpredictability forces them to stay extra cautious, waste more chakra, and divide their focus. Basically, you turn uncertainty into a weapon. Still, this level isn't unbeatable. Against strong defenses like Temari's wind style, which can blow away entire volleys of weapons, or Gaara's sand, which moves faster than human reaction, raw numbers won't help much. Plus, sealing all those weapons takes prep time and resources. You need to actually own the weapons you plan to summon, which makes it expensive and time-consuming, especially for long missions. What's cool, though, is how this so-called basic technique never goes out of style. Genin and Chūnin use it all the time because it doesn't need much chakra, and it's simple. But even elite ninjas still rely on it. The 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist sealed their legendary blades into scrolls. Even Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage and god of shinobi, carried a weapon scroll. It held a variety of tools he could use for taijutsu and bukijutsu. Level 1 item summoning sets the foundation for everything that comes later. And now, we'll go to...
Now, if you've made it this far, welcome to the amazing world of anime. This is the place for true fans like you, where we celebrate all the magic, action, and emotions anime brings to our lives. You've watched, you've felt the hype, you've been lost in these beautiful fantasy worlds. But, have you hit that subscribe button yet? Right now, almost 90% of you are watching without subscribing. Just imagine, if everyone hit sub, we could build one of the strongest anime communities out there. So, go ahead, click that subscribe button right now so you won't miss any new episodes, deep dive breakdowns, or awesome anime content coming your way. Thank you so much.
Level 2, Summoning Living Creatures. This is the level where you stop summoning objects and start summoning living allies, creatures that can move, think, and act on their own. At this stage, summoning is about having extra minds and bodies fighting alongside you. The big game changer here is autonomous movement. Creatures that don't just follow a straight line like a kunai, but can adjust, react, and even make their own decisions mid-battle. Suddenly, one ninja fight becomes a multi-angle ambush, and your opponent has to defend from multiple sides at once. Sasuke's hawk, Garuda, is the perfect example. It gave him the obvious benefit of flight, which is very huge. Then there's Itachi Uchiha, who turned creature summoning into straight-up psychological warfare. His iconic murder of crows wasn't about direct damage, it was about mental destruction. The crows became part of his genjutsu, filling the air with illusions that blurred the line between what's real and what's fake. And then there was that one special crow that carried Shisui's Mangekyo Sharingan inside it, a living container for one of the most powerful genjutsu ever made. That crow proved something huge. Summoned creatures can be tools of deception, storage, and strategy, biological extensions of a ninja's will. Orochimaru, on the other hand, used level 2 to terrify everyone. His snake summons were nightmares brought to life. When he unleashed those swarms of poisonous serpents, it created pure chaos. Against Four-Tails Naruto, he summoned a massive wave of snakes, basically a living wall of venom and fangs. Each snake had its own hunting instinct, so the swarm moved like a coordinated monster. Kidomaru from the Sound 4 gave us another side of this level, strategic control. His spider summons weren't big or scary, but they were smartly used. By dropping swarms of spiders from above, He turned the entire area into a giant web trap. But maybe the strongest example of level 2 mastery came from Kisame Hoshigaki. In water, he was an absolute monster. His shark summons turn any water environment into his personal battlefield. These sharks were predators perfectly synced with his water-style jutsu. Defending against that kind of assault was almost impossible unless you could handle multiple directions simultaneously. Every move you made in the water sent vibrations, and the sharks would instantly sense and home in on you. This was level 2, summoning at its most brutal and efficient, where the creature's natural instincts perfectly matched the environment. Of course, level 2 has its limits. These creatures act on instinct. They're smart enough to fight and follow commands, but not smart enough for deep strategy. They can attack, chase, and react, but they can't plan multi-step tactics on their own. So while they're deadly against average ninja, high-level opponents can outthink or outpower them. And powerful techniques, like a wide-area jutsu or an explosion, can wipe out entire groups of summons in one hit. Still, level 2 summons bring massive tactical value. They create pressure, confusion, and fear. They mess with enemy rhythm, force chakra usage, and open up perfect attack windows for the summoner. But here's the big question. If creatures that only follow instinct can already change the flow of a battle, what happens when you summon beings that can think, talk, and plan like humans? Level 3 will show us what happens when they can think on their own too. Level 3, Intelligent Companion Summons. Here, we cross the line into real partnership. The summons at this level aren't just animals with instincts. They can talk, think, plan, and make independent decisions. They understand tactics, they can analyze situations, and they can even fight alongside you as equals. Look at Kakashi Hataka's Ninken Pack, Pakun, Bisuke, Akino, and the rest. They're full-on shinobi with fur. Yeah, they wear headbands. When Kakashi fought Zabuza inside that thick mist, sight was completely useless. But Kakashi's Ninken didn't rely on eyes, they relied on scent. Once Pakun locked onto Zabuza's position, the entire pack moved in perfect coordination. Each one went for a specific limb, biting down to stop hand seals and immobilize him instantly. That's battlefield intelligence. Then there's Jiraiya and his mid-level toad partner Gamatotsu. At first glance, Gamatotsu might seem goofy, but this dude has tactical chemistry with Jiraiya. His special ability is spraying oil with insane control, and when combined with Jiraiya's fire release, the result is a devastating wall of flames. Another key feature of level 3 summons is their personality. These creatures think and feel. They have opinions, humor, and relationships with their summoners, but every level has limits, and level 3 is no exception. These summons, as smart as they are, don't have the raw power of higher-tier creatures. A pack of Ninken can take down a skilled Jonin, but they'd stand little chance against someone like an Akatsuki member with overwhelming destructive jutsu. These summons shine as support specialists, not as primary fighters. They make their summoners exponentially stronger, but only through coordination and tactics, not brute force. Level 3 is still just the stepping stone. Because once you go beyond mid-sized companions and start summoning giant, powerful entities, creatures that combine intelligence with world-breaking strength, the scale of battle changes completely. We move from one-on-one duels to army-level destruction. Level 4 will give us living forces of nature. Level 4, Mid-Tier Battle Beasts. Level 4 is where summoning really steps up. At this point, summons stop being just support or sidekicks. They become true game changers on the battlefield. We're talking about creatures that don't just follow orders, they act like veteran shinobi. Take Enma, the Monkey King summoned by Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage. Enma isn't massive like some later summons, but what makes him stand out is experience and adaptability. He's been through decades of battle and has a unique ability. He can transform into the adamantine staff, a weapon harder than diamond, but still fully conscious and aware. When Hiruzen fought Orochimaru, along with the reanimated first and second Hokage, Enma showed exactly what level 4 is all about. He didn't just sit there as a strong staff for Hiruzen to swing. He actively made decisions, extending and shrinking his body to attack from different angles, blocking Orochimaru's Kusanagi, and even warning his summoner mid-battle. Another great example is Kamatari, the slicing weasel summoned by Temari. Kamatari might not be as wise or talkative as Enma, but the destruction he can unleash is next level. When Kamatari works with Temari's giant fan, The two create massive wind blades that can literally wipe out forests in seconds, trees, terrain, everything gone. You can see this clearly when Temari and Kamatari finished off Tayuya. That wasn't a long, drawn-out fight. It was a single, perfectly timed combination attack that ended things immediately. That's the big difference between level 3 and level 4. Level 3 summons, like the Ninken or Gamatatsu, need teamwork and several moves to wear down an enemy. Level 4 doesn't need that many. Then there's Hanzo's Salamander, Ibus, showing another type of level 4 power, battlefield control. Ibus doesn't rely on pure strength or flashy moves. Instead, he uses poison gas, a deadly neurotoxin that spreads fast and paralyzes anyone who breathes it. The gas doesn't care who you are. Even skilled Jonin freeze up in seconds, their bodies completely unresponsive. Even so, level 4 isn't limitless. When it comes to god-tier threats like tailed beasts, reality-bending jutsu, or massive battlefield-scale ninjutsu, even these powerful summons can't keep up. They're the top of what normal human summoners can achieve, but not quite on the level of wide area-ending monsters. That's why level 4 is considered the peak of practical summoning. This is where legendary Jonin and Kage show their true skill, where single battles decide entire wars, and reputations are forged in fire. For most shinobi, level 4 is the dream, a perfect balance of intelligence, power, and independence. But for the rare few who push beyond, those with massive chakra, ancient contracts, and pure willpower, there's still more steps. When the ground starts shaking and the sunlight disappears behind something enormous, that's when you know someone has reached level 5. Level 5, Giant Summoning Beasts. This is where the battlefield stops being about ninja fighting each other and becomes about monsters that can literally change the landscape. These are creatures so huge and powerful, they make everything else look small. When they appear, the ground shakes, buildings crumble, and even veteran shinobi can feel pure fear. Only the strongest of the strong can even attempt this level. Hokage, Sannin, or, legends like Pain, people with chakra reserves far beyond ordinary humans. A normal ninja would die just from trying to summon one of these beasts. Let's start with Manda, Orochimaru's massive serpent, and one of the most terrifying creatures ever summoned. Manda is hundreds of meters long, his scales tougher than steel, and his jaws can crush entire squads in a single bite. During the legendary three-way battle of the Sannin, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru, Manda fought head-to-head with Gamabunta and Katsuyu. But here's the thing, Manda isn't loyal. He's smart, proud, and dangerously independent. He doesn't serve Orochimaru out of trust or friendship. He does it because he respects strength. If Orochimaru ever showed weakness or failed to meet Manda's standards, Manda wouldn't hesitate to turn on him. And Gamabunta, when he fought Shukaku, the one-tailed beast, Gamabunta went toe-to-toe with a full Biju and held his ground. That's insane. Then there's Gamakichi. Yes, he's a giant, towering over buildings like it's nothing, but he also fights with incredible precision and coordination. He can wield a massive sword with skill, think strategically in the middle of combat, and even sync his moves perfectly with Naruto. What really makes him special is his ability to use Sage Mode Chakra together with his summoner. Now, Lady Katsuyu is a different kind of monster entirely. Summoned by Tsunade, she isn't about raw destruction, she's about control, protection, and support on a massive scale. Katsuyu can split her enormous body into thousands of smaller slugs, each one moving independently but still connected to the main consciousness. During Pain's invasion of Konoha, while other summons were causing chaos and destruction, Katsuyu became the village's lifeline. She spread across the ruins, healing injured ninja, transferring Tsunade's chakra to keep people alive, shielding civilians from falling debris, and even maintaining communication across the entire battlefield. And then we have Pain, who turned summoning into a full-blown apocalypse. His animal path brought an army of giant monsters into the heart of Konoha. A giant rhino that smashed through walls like they were paper, a multi-headed dog that multiplied every time you hit it, turning into a pack of regenerating nightmares, a crab with armor so thick nothing could pierce it, a massive bird dropping bombs from the sky, a chameleon that turned invisible and ambushed from nowhere. Pain unleashed all of them at once. Konoha, the strongest hidden village in the world, was reduced to smoking ruins in minutes. So what makes level 5 truly different from everything below it? Its scale. These summons don't help in a fight, they become the fight. The second one of them appears, normal ninja tactics stop mattering. Small-scale jutsu can't scratch them. Kunai, traps, or genjutsu are completely useless. Once a level 5 creature appears, the only options left are summon your own titan to fight back, use forbidden jutsu powerful enough to damage a monster that size, or run, and hope you're fast enough to escape the blast zone. Level 5 might be the peak for ordinary humans, but the ladder doesn't end here. There is something out there so powerful they stop being summons and start becoming myths. Level 6, Supernatural Summon. Now we've stepped into a whole new world. The line between powerful and godlike just got completely erased. Only shinobi who have reached the absolute top can even try to call beings like this. And when they do, they're pulling something out of myth. Take the fivefold Rashomon gates. Each gate is massive, like a mountain. These gates took a direct hit from a combined attack. The Nine-Tails Raw Bijou Chakra plus Suzanu's Divine Swords. That kind of power could erase a mountain range. But the gates survived, and were almost completely undamaged. Then we have the Gedo statue, the Outer Path Golem. This statue isn't just big. Its size is the least scary part. The Gedo statue is actually the empty body of the Ten-Tails, the origin of all chakra. When it roars and opens its mouth, chains of pure spirit burst out, and entire armies have their souls ripped away in seconds. Not their chakra, their souls. No jutsu could stop it. People just died instantly, their bodies dropping like puppets with cut strings. Later, when Obito Uchiha controlled the Gedo statue in the Fourth Shinobi War, we finally saw what level 6 really means. One summon, just one, fought against tens of thousands of ninja from all 5 nations at once. Here's what truly sets level 6 apart. These summons don't fully exist inside the same rules of reality as everything else. A level 5 summon, no matter how insane, is still a living being. It can be killed, exhausted, outsmarted, or destroyed if you throw enough power at it. But a level 6 summon doesn't play by those rules. The Rashomon gates aren't alive. So how do you kill them? They're structures, yet they react to their summoner's will. And the Gedo statue is technically a corpse, a dead god's shell, but it still moves, still acts, still hungers. And yet, even this isn't the end. There's still one last tier above level 6. Level 7, Forbidden Summons. We've now reached the point where summoning stops being just a jutsu and becomes something that breaks the rules of the universe itself. The ones who step into this territory have made a choice: to go against the natural order, to grab something from the other side of existence, and force it back into the living world. These are Kenjutsu, forbidden arts. At the top of this forbidden level stands Edo Tensei. You have to know that it doesn't just copy dead people or use their memories. It literally rips their souls out of the afterlife, the Pure Land, and drags them back into the physical world. The summoner uses a living sacrifice as a vessel and binds the dead soul inside. The result isn't a clone or illusion, it's a perfect resurrection. These reanimated shinobi come back with everything they had when alive, their full power, every jutsu they mastered, every memory, every experience. They return exactly as they were, except now, they can't die. When Kabuto Yakushi perfected Edo Tensei and unleashed it during the Fourth Great Ninja War, he created a necromancer's apocalypse. Entire generations of dead shinobi rose again. Madara Uchiha, one of the 2 strongest shinobi in history, came back. Former Kage from multiple villages, each the strongest of their time, were reanimated. Legendary warriors who had become myths walked the earth again, now serving Kabuto's will. Of course, we have to talk about the kind of immortality it creates. When we say these reanimated shinobi are immortal, we don't mean hard to kill. We mean literally impossible to kill. You can slice them in half, blow them up, burn them, crush them, it doesn't matter. Their bodies regenerate in seconds. They feel no pain because their bodies aren't alive. They never get tired because they don't use stamina. They can use their most chakra-draining jutsu over and over again without limits. The clearest proof of Edo Tensei's nightmare potential was Madara Uchiha's reanimation. When he arrived on the battlefield, it was a massacre. An entire division of the allied shinobi forces, thousands of trained ninja, attacked him with everything they had. Team formations, massive coordinated jutsu, it made no difference. Madara fought like someone who knew he couldn't lose, because he literally couldn't. And then he dropped a meteor. And when they managed to stop it, He dropped a second one just to crush the first. Madara was showing that the gods of the old world had returned, and the new generation didn't even come close. But Ito Tensei isn't the only face of level 7. There's another jutsu that belongs here, one even darker, the Reaper Death Seal. If Ito Tensei is about breaking the boundary of death, then Shiki Fujin is about bargaining with it. This jutsu summons the Shinigami, the god of death itself. When someone uses this technique, they open a gateway between the living world and the realm where the Shinigami lives. Then they make a contract, a deal written in souls. Here's how it works. The user calls forth the Shinigami, which appears behind them, invisible to everyone except those involved. It's a spectral figure with a knife clamped between its teeth. The user's soul becomes tied to the Shinigami, and through this bond, the death god reaches out. When the Shinigami's hand grabs someone's soul, it's over. The Shinigami rips that soul out and seals it inside its own stomach forever. The victim dies and is erased from the cycle of reincarnation. Their soul can never reach the Pure Land, never be reborn, never find peace. They're trapped in eternal limbo, sealed away with all the other souls the Shinigami has claimed. And the user's soul is also taken. After the seal is complete, the Shinigami turns on the one who summoned it and takes their soul too. You can't summon death, use its power, and walk away. Balance has to be paid with your own eternity. Hiruzen Sarutobi used the Reaper Death Seal to stop Orochimaru, sealing away his arms and sacrificing his own soul in the process. Minato Namikaze used it to seal half of the Nine Tails inside himself, dying to save his village and his newborn son. Level 7 changed everything about how wars were fought in the shinobi world. From that point on, strength stopped being measured by who could punch harder or summon bigger creatures. Now, death itself had become a weapon. Actually, this still isn't the end. There's one more summoning level that I couldn't include in the main list, but I still have to mention it. The extra, Kaguya's Dimensional Power. This is the absolute peak of summoning jutsu. Only one being in the entire Naruto world has ever pulled it off, Kaguya Otsutsuki. Forget everything you know about summoning. Kaguya doesn't summon animals, she doesn't summon spirits or monsters. She is a god, and she summons entire worlds. Her jutsu, Amanomanaka, lets her instantly change the dimension around her. She has 6. There's a burning desert, a frozen wasteland, a sea made of acid, a place with crushing gravity, and more. Kaguya decides where the battle happens, when it changes, and what rules apply. Every time she shifts the dimension, the whole battlefield transforms, forcing her enemies to adapt on the spot, or get destroyed. This jutsu takes an insane amount of chakra, basically infinite. Only someone like Kaguya, the source of all chakra, could ever use it. Even Naruto and Sasuke, with all their 6 paths power, could barely keep up. The only reason they survived was because they worked together perfectly. And honestly, they got lucky. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.